What's up, guys? Hardcore Horror Nerd here. Today I will be talking about my top 10 slasher films, starting with number 10, which is Friday the 13th, Part 1. It's a really good film. I just liked it. It's my favorite entry in the series and the best entry of the series all around. Just a really, really good classic slasher film. Next up is my first horror movie and my first slasher movie. It's Halloween H20. I watched this movie back in 2006 and I fell in love with the Halloween series and just kept wanting to see more and more of the series. I really liked the storyline. I thought the characters were really good, and I loved the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis returned to the series. It's a really good movie and will always be in my top 10 slasher films because it was my first. Next up is the original Maniac. Now, this movie in particular took me 2 or 3 watches to end up liking it, but after a while, after those 2 or 3 watches, I was like, this is a really good movie, and it has now made its way into my top 10, which I feel is always constantly changing, but this movie will probably stay in there for a long time. Next up is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was just I love the exploitation film feeling that you get from it. It's a really good film, and that dinner scene is just classic and amazing and disturbing as always whenever I watch it. Next up is Hatchet 2. Adam Green did a really good job with this movie, in my opinion. He made you feel like you were watching that classic 80s or 70s slasher movie. It was a really good movie, and if you haven't seen it and you're like, oh, it's a new age horror movie, I highly suggest you check it out. I feel like Victor Crowley can now be considered to be a top slasher with Jason, Freddy, and Michael, and Leatherface. Next up is Silent Night, Deadly Night. I just love the setting of the movie. It's during Christmas, which is a setting that you probably wouldn't naturally think of. It's a really good movie altogether, and a really great classic slasher. Next up is Gun Massacre, otherwise known as Texas Gun Massacre, and the reason they say that is because their tagline is cheaper than a chainsaw. It's a really good movie. I really liked it. Good slasher, kind of cheesy, but the good type of cheesy, and it's one I like to watch multiple times. And as I said in my first video, I like the colored tapes. Well, this one is from Texas Frightmare Weekend from Frightmare Video, and so this is your red VHS tape for Gun Massacre. Really good. I scored this on eBay for about $10. So if you want to check it out and you have a VCR and you like collecting VHS tapes, I suggest you look on eBay. They're still up there, last time I checked. Next up is a 90s favorite of mine, Scream. What I really liked about this movie is the slasher film was kind of dead in the 90s. Let's all admit that. In this movie, even though it's a satire on slasher and horror movies, it is a really good slasher movie. It wasn't too overly comedic, and it wasn't too like, hey, let's just make a slasher film in the 90s. No, it was a really great film, and I do like the meta aspect to it. Next up is The Town That Dreaded Sundown. This is a true life horror, or true crime horror. It's based off the Texas Moonlight Massacre. Texarkana Moonlight Massacres. It's a really good film from the 70s. It's more like not very slashery. It's more cops and like Law and Order type stuff. It's a really good film, and it just makes you think. It's like the Zodiac, where the storyline and the story behind the film just really makes you think. And then my number 1 slasher film of all time, which most of you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you will know, is Halloween 1978, John Carpenter's. It's just a really good movie. I love everything about this movie. I love watching documentaries about the movie. I love the storyline. I love the characters. I love the director. It's a really good movie. John Carpenter will always be my favorite director. And today, like I said in my first video, I have 8 different copies. Today I am showing you the 35th anniversary UK Blu-ray Steelbook release. So here's the front cover and here's the back of the cover. It's a really nice case. I love it. The reason I bought it was just to add it to my collection. Alright, so there you have it. Those are my top 10 slasher films. Would love to hear what your top 10 slasher films are. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Hardcore Horror Nerd. You can go and like Horror Affair on Facebook and just, talk horror with me. I love talking to people who like horror, and I love meeting people who like horror. Also, this weekend I will be going to a convention called Days of the Dead in Atlanta, and I will be taking my camera with me and I will be taking pictures. I will be meeting Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Chandler Riggs, Jason Mewes, Ken Foree's supposed to be there, Dee Snider, Linda Blair, a few people from The Thing, Roddy Piper from They Live, Dee Wallace is supposed to be there, Toe Tag is having a cool little seminar there, VHS PS, which they take old VHS movies and convert them to DVDs, like stuff that's really hard to find. They're going to be there. Hope to stop by their booth and buy some movies and pick up a few things. I will be videoing my experience there with my GoPro, and can't wait to tell you guys about it. I'll be back this weekend with a new video. I hope to do these at least once a week, if not twice a week. So yeah, just keep checking the YouTube page. Again, like me on it, like Facebook, Horror Affair, and on Instagram at Hardcore Horror Nerd. And hail horror!